Here's the question. How do you make the impossible possible? Simple. Remove the I am, the ego. Now, how do you step into that newfound possibility? With a series of small intentional steps. Never forget, the greatest among us started from humble beginnings. But to truly unlock your potential, realize you're here for something greater. If you're yearning for more than just a good life, let's take that small step together to reach greatness. Welcome to the Greatness from Small Beginnings podcast, where we're talking to those who have gone from mediocrity to motivated, overlooked to overachieving, forgettable to unforgettable. Are you ready? Let's go. Well, hello, everybody. It's good to be back with you. I reached out to the one that produced these for me, and I said, "Hey, do we have another one in the can, or do I need to record another?" And he said, "Oh, except for the one you messed up, you gotta record another one." So here I am. I have tons of ideas, of course, as is typical of me. Always watching for things and looking for anecdotal things that I can put out there to you all. Oh, I want to say a special thank you to those that are downloading in other countries. I got a couple of downloads in Spain, about 20 in Germany, and where else was there? Someplace in South America. Anyway, pretty happy about that. And then a bunch, of course, in the US. But we need that number to grow. All right. And this is, and you can see my shirt. Oh, I have to get over like this. And then it's Greatness from Small Beginnings. If you're on YouTube watching it, you just got a glimpse, I think, of the shirt that says Greatness from Small Beginnings. Well, as I am on my journey of being greater and realizing constantly that small beginnings is like an everyday thing. Okay, so I have to redo my brain. I have to actually redo my thinking and consider what's next, and consider, in the case of what I'm going to talk about today, are these dreams actually mine, or are they someone else's? So a quick story. I'm hiring someone to replace me in my company, my position. And what I've come to realize in regards to this subject of whether or not the dreams, the goals that are set are something that fit my team members. Now there's the team members that I'm hiring to lead. They each have their goals that they have expanded out, and each of them, I think, are going to hit their goal this year. Might mean that they were all a little bit low, but each of them, a couple of them, and then I think each of them will get these what we call, bluebird jobs that fly in, and they're good jobs that bring that number up. And I think that that's what's going to get a couple of them over the top. But one of them in the last few weeks has had a fantastic, maybe 2 weeks straight of good, like bigger jobs that pushes that number. But I'm always talking to them about the fact that that small number, those small jobs, they pay the bills. So the other is lighting money, and that's great, but we got to pay your bills. And so you got to do the small jobs, you got to do the small work, you got to do the small reach outs and the small follow-ups and the follow-ups on the small jobs. And you've got to do that regularly. And then maybe those people then can in turn hire us to do more or bigger, which is sometimes the case. So back to the goal, the broader question of, are the goals that you have, the dreams you have, are those something that came from you, or did someone else set that for you? It could have been a parent. It could have been a teacher. It could have been, you are good at this thing, you should do this. It could have been a professor. It could have been the many professors in your line of study. But I am frustrated recently myself. For me, it wouldn't have been professors. It wouldn't have been somebody else. It's just my own brain. I started in business when I was 19. I went to college two terms right out of high school, and didn't hate it, but honestly couldn't afford to stay in. Couldn't find a job in the little town that I went to school. I could not find a job, and it was horrible. Like I had no idea what to do about it. But and I had never been up to that point. Of course, I was only 18, but uh, not find a job. I'd never seen that before. Well, housewives were kind of jobs that I was looking for because the economy was so low and so difficult. So back to the subject. Who created the dreams that you have in your head, in your life, in your mind? I was at a car show earlier today and I heard a particular kind of car that I've always wanted. I don't remember if I was a child. I remember seeing it as a child, like in a Matchbox car, and thinking, oh, that is so, I'd love to have one of those. So any car that had a mouth on the front of it, like a Jaguar E-Type, a Cobra, Ford Cobra. Those were all ones I really liked. And both of those still are in my mind as something that someday I'd love to have. But there was one Jaguar E-Type at this thing, and it wasn't all fixed up. It was fairly original from the early 60s. And it was pretty cool to see, of course. But the Cobras that were there was probably at least a half a dozen of them, if not more. And they're most hit cars, so they don't just they're not original, most of them, which would be interesting to know the difference. I'm not sure what the difference is but they were kit cars, no doubt about it. But even then, I would still love to have one. And I heard a guy say that was sitting on the curb talking to someone about his car, his Cobra, and I was just walking by. Uh, that since I was 6 years old, I've wanted one of these, and finally, this is the one I got. Now I didn't hear him say how long before or anything, but it was a dream of his, and he went and got it eventually, which is pretty cool. And it made me think even more about this subject. I've been stewing on this for a couple of days. And who set your dreams? That's the question I have for you. Who put your dreams together? When you were six, did you have something you thought? I thought about NFL. Um, I thought about being an NFL player, and well, I was probably 3'8" at the time, and I remember being stuck at about 3'8", mostly real near 3'8" for about 3 years of my life, and until I was a freshman, I was a kid in every class, every school I was in, until finally I was bigger than a girl. Okay, so I have these uh, dreams that for me, there's no way they could have been realized in the way that I thought of them. Now, is there things I can do today at 62 years old to engage? Well, one of the cool things, now it's not NFL, it's NBA, but my company, I have championed a connection with the Portland Trail Blazers, and we are really close to signing a contract of what they call partnering with them. Now, it's us paying for advertising to some degrees, advertising and branding, but we also get some perks to be on the inside, not from a team standpoint, but on the inside with other people that are partners there. And it's one way that we can associate with the organization and benefit the company that I own, that I work for. And I really like that idea. And so this is one small way I can kind of live to that dream a little bit, that maybe someday this can lead us to meeting some of the players, meeting some of the front office, the announcers, different people like that. And you never know where it can lead us if we're a little bold and we ask our way in. So we'll see. But but I thought, I've always had this dream of doing that, but maybe the NFL is not the way I can do it. There's no NFL team in my city. And so maybe I have to do it differently. So that's a way I can meet my dream. But here's a couple of things about dreams that I think we need to be challenged about, is that sometimes at work, or because we own a business, there's a culture around us. maybe in our minds, like we start a small construction business or, software, whatever it is. And the idea is to go do this and be that and to grow to a certain top line so that you can get a certain bottom line. And are those really your goals? Are those really yours, or is it more of a construct that comes from the outside? And that's what I've had to figure out or begin figuring out as I'm hiring this guy. Is this an external construct? Is it from me or the other leaders in the company? Because we're also, we hold roles. We also have goals in those roles, in those specific roles. And we also see things in the bigger picture because there's three of us are owners. And does it make sense that it fits their goals? And so their goals as a team and this new person, when I put goals in front of this person, I was just listening to a book today that was talking about this, and on on my run, which I'll get to in a minute, one of my goals, I ran miles this morning and was listening to this book, and it talked about that when we engage with our employees, when we engage with people on our team, are we talking about what they want out of it? And if we're talking about what they want out of it, then that's the dream, is what they want out of the process. I want out of that number. And the guy told a story of he'd grown a company to just over 3 million, and he just visualized in a quiet time of, man, look at this. I could do this, 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 and this. We as a team could do this, this, the company, and I could structure things this way and we could be at 10 million. And he presented it to the team and it fell flat. And everybody was like, oh, we hate the idea. Feels like more work for us and we gain for you. And finally, somebody was honest with him about that. But if I presented that number as a methodology, as a dream that provided the answer to all of our other dreams, everybody in the room, everybody in the organization, everybody in the company, everybody in the family, everybody in the church, whoever it is, if we could present it that way, then the number doesn't even matter as much as, am I going to get what I'm after? Am I going to get mine? I listened to a part of another book that basically said two things that make us there's two triggers that are so important about making life-changing decisions. And one of them is, what's it going to do for me, my family, my people? They think my value system is this. What's it do for the people within that value system? And that is the first trigger that you have to consider in making a choice to change something, lasting change. I thought that was a really fitting way to fit that into dreams. But as I hire this person, and maybe I have a name in mind, but I'm not sure if I'm going to hire him. And it might be someone else. But as I hire this person, can I fashion the dreams of him and the team? Can I help them figure out what they want to do so that what they become because of it, what their finances become, what their families become, what they become in their retirement? Because I have a couple of older men that work for me. What they become should be an outcome of their activities today. And we need to pull it in and make some micro goals that get them to their dreams. I mean, that's most of what I wanted to say about that. But I realized uh, earlier today that one of the mechanisms, one of the ways to do that is to be likable. It's weird, and that sounds like two disconnected. It might sound like two disconnected subjects, but to get the things that you want in life, to get the help you need to get there, to get the conversations you need to get to your dreams, you have to be likable. And so here's three pieces of being likable. You need to have empathy, which means you need to connect with people in a way that magnetizes, pulls them towards you. And then you need to be authentic, which is the outcome of authenticity is confident and comfortable. And then people trust you. An authentic person that shares things that are difficult, even about themselves. are those people that are confident. And then if you're comfortable in your own skin, people will be drawn towards you. And then once they're towards you, then if you're empathetic and can listen, a good listener, an empathetic person is always a good listener, uh, and not one that just blurt out advice all the time. The third one is enthusiasm. You need to be enthusiastic. And I realized at work as I'm doing my job, trying to get this position, is that I'm sometimes not a high level at any of these three things. Now, am I well liked by my team and most around the country, the company? Yes, I am. No doubt about that. I'm a kind person by nature, and I am empathetic, and they as a group appreciate me. But if I want the help of the entire organization to get to our dreams that I see, my dreams that I see them all fitting within, then I need to be likable. And I am telling you that right now there's so much tension and pressure within the company that I'm in, and I can't seem to fix it. And so part of it's seasonal, and we're in an intense season right now, but I would really love to see it pull back and go down and then be able to look back and examine what happened because I see it very clearly because I have a few minutes here and there to see it, and I tend to be I tend to be discerning. Someone asked me this last week, do you have the gift of discernment? Because I was tell this story about something. And I said, no, I don't directly that I'm aware of have a gift from God of discerning things because he gives me frameworks, but he rarely gives me details. I just assume that most people that have this gift from God of discernment often have some of the details. And so I make assumptions and I see things that are going on and I feel things in the room. And those are that is discernment, but it's not a complete picture for me. So anyway, that being said, dreams, don't let somebody else determine them for you. Uh, Goals that come out of those dreams, make those yours and they may be shared. That is just a fact. And then one of the ways to get to your dreams, to those goals, whether they're micro goals or otherwise, is to be likable, to be a part of the team, part of the unit. And the way you do that is empathy, authenticity, which is kind of a confidence and comfortable thing, and then enthusiasm, which means people like being around and helping those that radiate positivity. So you should do that. You should go radiate positivity. And got to remember that this radiate positivity is a catchphrase these days, but it did not come from a place that like it's old words. Where I got it from is old words from back a ways. So it's about enthusiasm. And it's not about manipulating people. It's about being enthusiastic and enjoying life and uh, being a positive person to be around, enjoyable person. And I will tell you that because of the problems within my own life and my own company right now, positivity is waning. And I realized this last week that I need to control my own, number one, because I can control that. And then I need to feed. I shouldn't be feeding the black dog. I should be feeding the white dog on that. I need to feed the good stuff, feed the positivity and say the positive things, even if I don't feel them necessarily, but I need to say the positive things. So I always end the podcast with a statement from Zig Ziglar that's encouraging to you. It's been encouraging to me, and it really fits with what we're talking about. You were designed for accomplishment. Yes, you were engineered for success and endowed with the seeds of greatness. Here's the call to action. Now you can choose it. Now go be great.